What is an algorithm? One definition might be a set of steps to accomplish a task. You might have an algorithm for getting from home to school, for making a grilled cheese sandwich, or for finding what you're looking for in the grocery store. In computer science, an algorithm is a set of steps for a computer program to accomplish a task. Algorithms put the science in computer science, and finding good algorithms and knowing when to apply them will allow you to write interesting and important programs. Let's talk about a few famous algorithms. How does Google Hangouts transmit live video across the internet so quickly? They use audio and video compression algorithms. How does Google Maps figure out how to get from Dallas, Texas to Orlando, Florida so that you can get to Disney World? They use a route finding algorithm. How does Pixar color a 3D model of a character based on the lighting in a virtual room? They use a rendering algorithm. How does NASA choose how to arrange the solar panels on the International Space Station and when to rearrange them? They use an optimization and a scheduling algorithm. Those algorithms are more complex than our everyday algorithms, like making a grilled cheese sandwich, but they boil down to the same thing: a set of steps to accomplish a task. If you know something about existing algorithms, you can save yourself some effort and make your programs faster by applying the right one. For example, let's say that you're writing a game and you want the user to be able to play against the computer. Well, you could look at checkers games for inspiration. Computer scientists have figured out how to write checkers programs that never lose by using the Minimax search algorithm to search through the huge tree of possible moves. If your game is similar to checkers, then you might be able to use algorithms based on these techniques. If not, then knowing the limitations of those algorithms might lead you to redesign your game if it requires having a skilled computer player. It's also important to know how to design new algorithms, as well as how to analyze their correctness and efficiency. In the biological sciences, new algorithms are continually being designed for purposes like designing the molecular structures that are the core of disease-fighting drugs. In physics, algorithms simulate climate and weather patterns, and other algorithms search and analyze the vast data about stars in the universe that's collected by automated space telescopes. Across all the sciences, and even on websites like Khan Academy, efficient algorithms are needed to analyze huge data sets or to select intelligently from a vast number of possible decisions. In just about any area you might be interested, new algorithms will allow massive computational power to be harnessed to do things that people really need and care about. Now, not all algorithms are created equal. So what makes a good algorithm? The two most important criteria are that it solves a problem and that it does so efficiently. Most of the time, we want an algorithm to give us an answer that we know is always correct. Sometimes we can live with an algorithm that doesn't give us a correct answer or the best answer because the only perfect algorithms that we know for those problems take a really, really long time. For example, let's say we want a program that would determine the most efficient route for a truck that delivers packages, starting and ending the day at a depot. It would take weeks to run, going through all the possibilities. But if we're okay with a program that would determine a route that's good, but maybe not the best, then it could run in seconds. In some case, good is good enough. How do you measure the efficiency of an algorithm? We could time how long it takes to run the code, but that would only tell us about that particular implementation in a certain programming language on a particular computer and just for the input it was given. Instead, computer scientists use a technique called asymptotic analysis, which allows algorithms to be compared independently of the particular programming language or hardware, so that we can conclusively say that yes, some algorithms are more efficient than others. Now, you can learn about algorithms and asymptotic analysis on Khan Academy, thanks to the contribution of two Dartmouth College professors. Tom Corman is the first author of the most popular college algorithms textbook in the world, plus the author of Algorithms Unlocked. Devin Balcom designed Dartmouth's Intro CS course and researches robotics. He built the world's first origami folding robot. Tom and Devin will teach you many of the algorithms that you'd learn in APCS or CS 101, like searching algorithms, sorting algorithms, recursive algorithms, and my personal favorite, graph algorithms. There will be tons of interactive visualizations, quizzes, and coding challenges to help you understand better along your learning journey.
Imagine two people who share an important secret have to split up. This requires them to communicate private information from a distance. However, an eavesdropper named Eve also wants this information and has the ability to intercept their messages. So, imagine two people who share an important secret have to split up. This requires them to communicate private information from a distance. However, an eavesdropper named Eve also wants this information and has the ability to intercept their messages. So, Alice decides to communicate using letters written in some kind of secret code. The following analogy is helpful. First, Alice locks her message in a box, using a lock that only her and Bob know the combination to. This is known as encryption. Then the locked message is sent to Bob. When Bob receives the box, he opens it using the code they shared in advance. This is called decryption. Cryptography begins when we abandon physical locks and use ciphers instead. Think of them as virtual locks. Ciphers allow Alice and Bob to scramble and descramble their messages so that they would appear meaningless if Eve intercepted them. Cryptography has been around for thousands of years. It has decided wars and is at the heart of the worldwide communication network today. The fascinating story of cryptography requires us to understand two very old ideas related to number theory and probability theory. The first well-known cipher, a substitution cipher, was used by Julius Caesar around 58 BC. It is now referred to as the Caesar cipher. Caesar shifted each letter in his military commands in order to make them appear meaningless should the enemy intercept it. Imagine Alice and Bob decided to communicate using the Caesar cipher. First, they would need to agree in advance on a shift to use, say 3. So to encrypt her message, Alice would need to apply a shift of 3 to each letter in her original message. So A becomes D, B becomes E, C becomes F, and so on. This unreadable or encrypted message is then sent to Bob openly. Then Bob simply subtracts the shift of 3 from each letter in order to read the original message. Incredibly, this basic cipher was used by military leaders for hundreds of years after Caesar.
I have fought and won, but I haven't conquered over man's spirit, which is indomitable.
However, a lock is only as strong as its weakest point. A lock breaker may look for mechanical flaws, or failing that, extract information in order to narrow down the correct combination. The process of lock breaking and code breaking are very similar. The weakness of the Caesar cipher was published 800 years later by an Arab mathematician named Al-Kindi. He broke the Caesar cipher by using a clue based on an important property of the language a message is written in. If you scan text from any book and count the frequency of each letter, you will find a fairly consistent pattern. For example, these are the letter frequencies of English. This can be thought of as a fingerprint of English. We leave this fingerprint when we communicate without realizing it. This clue is one of the most valuable tools for a code breaker. To break this cipher, they count up the frequencies of each letter in the encrypted text and check how far the fingerprint has shifted. For example, if H is the most popular letter in the encrypted message instead of E, then the shift was likely 3. So they reversed the shift in order to reveal the original message. This is called frequency analysis, and it was a blow to the security of the Caesar cipher. Also has a copy of. Now imagine a codebreaker, Eve, intercepts a series of messages and calculates the letter frequencies. She will find a flatter distribution or a lighter fingerprint. So how could she break this? Remember, codebreakers look for information leak, the same as finding a partial fingerprint. Anytime there is a differential in letter frequencies, a leak of information occurs. This difference is caused by repetition in the encrypted message. In this case, Alice's cipher contains a repeating code word. To break the encryption, Eve would first need to determine the length of this shift word used, not the word itself. The stronger the cipher. For over 400 years, the problem remained. How could Alice design a cipher that hides her fingerprint, thus stopping the leak of information? The answer is randomness. Imagine Alice rolled a 26-sided die to generate a long list of random shifts and shared this with Bob instead of a code word. Now, to encrypt her message, Alice uses the list of random shifts instead. It is important that this list of shifts be as long as the message as to avoid any repetition. Then she sends it to Bob, who decrypts the message using the same list of random shifts she had given him. Now Eve will have a problem, because the resulting encrypted message will have two powerful properties. 1. The shifts never fall into a repetitive pattern. And 2. The encrypted message will have a uniform frequency distribution. Because there is no frequency differential, and therefore no leak, it is now impossible for Eve to break the encryption. This is the strongest possible method of encryption, and it emerged towards the end of the 19th century. It is now known as the one-time pad. In order to visualize the strength of the one-time pad, we must understand the combinatorial explosion which takes place. For example, the Caesar cipher shifted every letter by the same shift, which was some number between 1 and 26. So if Alice was to encrypt her name, it would result in one of 26 possible encryptions. A small number of possibilities, easy to check them all, known as brute force search. Compare this to the one-time pad where each letter would be shifted by a different number between 1 and 26. Now think about the number of possible encryptions. It's going to be 26 multiplied by itself 5 times, which is almost 12 million. Sometimes it's hard to visualize. So imagine she wrote her name on a single page, and on top of it stacked every possible encryption. How high do you think this would be? With almost 12 million possible 5-letter sequences, this stack of paper would be enormous, over 1 kilometer high. When Alice encrypts her name using the one-time pad, it is the same as picking one of these pages at random. From the perspective of Eve the codebreaker, every 5-letter encrypted word she has is equally likely to be any word in this stack. So this is perfect secrecy in action.